Now, tens of thousands of people who suffered avoidable harm because of two NHS medical products are still waiting to hear what kind of compensation they will receive from the government, more than 2 years after a damning report calling for a UK-wide redress scheme.
Pelvic mesh implants were used to treat pelvic organ prolapse and incontinence after childbirth that caused thousands of women to experience debilitating pain and life-altering complications, some even needing to have their bladder or bowel removed.
The epilepsy drug sodium valproate is now known to cause birth defects and lifelong learning difficulties and impacted an estimated 20,000 families.
We can talk about this with Professor Henrietta Hughes, the Patient Safety Commissioner. Very good morning to you, Professor, and also Mandy Bridge, who experienced crippling pain for 6 years because of pelvic mesh. Mandy, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. It's important people understand the effects of this, isn't it? Can you just explain, sort of in brief terms, what happened to you and the impact?
I had a pelvic mesh just for incontinence, and straight away as it was put in, I could feel it sticking inside, and it was also sticking out my stomach, the plastic, the blue plastic. But it was the being ignored when I kept going back, saying, you know, and then eventually my local hospital sent me down to London because North weren't removing it, and it's just been a lot of operations.
And you were following, when it was fitted, when that was the medical advice at the time, you'd consulted with medical professionals, and this is what they told you?
Yes, I'd actually had it done 15 years before with my own tissue, and it worked fine. So after 15 years it had gone, and I went back thinking I'm having the same. So instead of a 4-hour operation for the surgeons, it was a 20-minute, described as tape, no plastic or mesh was mentioned in them days.
And the long-term impact for you is what in your day-to-day life?
Well, just this year, it's been a lot of years where I've gone on the train with a catheter on and 22 staples in my stomach 3 times. And it's been the cost of going to the hotels, the trains. But yeah, I've been told that I've lifetime chronic pain, so I'm on opiates, strong medication. And I've just been told I've got to self-catheterise for life. It's just the whole emotional side to my family and everything. I'm just not Mandy anymore. So it's been hard.
Well, I mean, thank you for sharing your story. I know it's not necessarily easy to sit on a sofa like this and talk about it. It's really important you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor Hughes is the Patient Safety Commissioner. Good morning to you. You will have heard many stories like Mandy's to do with pelvic meshes. There's also the drug sodium valproate, which also affected thousands of other families. So just explain, 2 years ago, you wrote a report saying that these people deserved compensation for all the suffering that they'd been through, and you then expected what to happen?
Well, this is a health scandal of an epic proportion, which affects tens of thousands of families and has been going on for decades, which is why I've taken action. I published the report, which set out the way that families and patients like Mandy could receive justice in the form of financial redress. And I haven't received a response from the government, which is, I think, really shameful. And, you know, hearing from Mandy and the terrible experience that she's had, I've heard from hundreds of others, not only affected by pelvic mesh, but also by valproate. And I think it's absolutely vital that the health system listens, learns, and acts.
Maybe just explain about the sodium valproate and the effect that's had on so many families.
Yeah, valproate is an effective medicine if you're taking it for epilepsy or mental health conditions, but it's very harmful in pregnancy to the unborn child. And we estimate that 20,000 children have been born exposed to valproate with birth defects, learning disabilities, and a lifelong impact on their ability to earn and their ability to learn and live independent lives.
Mandy, we have a government statement in relation to this. I'd be curious to see your response. They say We recognise the significant impact that sodium valproate and pelvic mesh condition, the treatment you had, have had on people and their families. This is a complex issue. Our priority is to ensure any response is fair, balanced and sensitive to those affected. We are carefully considering the recommendations within the Hughes report in collaboration with relevant departments, and we aim to provide an update in due course.
It's been far too long, the time.
I mean, it must be hugely frustrating for you to hear that after this length of time.
Yeah, I mean, every lady that's injured, we shouldn't have to fight in courts. We've got to a stage where we shouldn't have to, you know, even the NHS resolution, you know, we're dealing with pain as it is. So, yeah, that's just, we need it in a timely, definitely.
Has it been, how frustrating has it been? Because I think probably a lot of people hadn't really heard of pelvic mesh until it really hit the news. We had the Hughes report a couple of years ago. At that point, did you think this is going to be taken seriously? Something's going to happen?
Yeah. I did attend the Cumberledge review as well. And Henrietta Hughes has been great. You know, it's been 2 years she's been waiting, but it was actually 2017-18 when it first, you know, the Cumberledge review happened. So, yeah, we've been waiting a long time.
Professor, I mean, you heard that the statement we just read out. I mean, you probably heard similar yourself. I mean, in a practical sense, I don't know. What do? You were asked to do the report. You've done the report. You've put your recommendations forward. What, I mean, do you keep writing to the Health Secretary? Do you keep... what's happening in practice?
So I've heard a similar response from the government too many times. And as a consequence, I use the special powers that I have to request information, initially from the Department of Health, who responded saying that they didn't have the authority to provide the financial redress. So I wrote to the Prime Minister and I haven't had a response. So I've written again using my special powers, and I do expect an answer in the next few weeks, because I want to know what has been happening behind the scenes. What are the decisions that are happening that are going to affect Mandy and thousands of others like her? And I do expect the government to not only respond to my letter, to set out a really clear timetable for redress. I wasn't asked whether people should receive redress. That case had already been made. I was asked how people should receive redress. And I set it out really clearly as a two-step process, working with patients and families. The patients deserve this. They deserve the justice. They deserve the compensation. As Mandy has said, it's costing her a fortune attending appointments. But we know that people have often lost their incomes. They've lost their relationships. They may have lost their homes. And some have even lost their lives. We can't wait any longer. Some of the patients have said to me that the government are waiting for them to die so that this goes away. I think that's shameful, and I expect a response.
Well, Mandy, I mean, it's very brutal what Henrietta's saying there. Is that your sentiment? I mean, do you see it that way?
I was self-employed for 28 years, and I had my driving licence took off me because I lose power in my leg, and that's just the impact of what's happened.
You'll be aware, Mandy, that it's a moment of great turmoil. We're going to have a new Prime Minister. You know, Henrietta's saying she's written to the Prime Minister. Well, that's going to change. You're sitting here with us now. What would you say to whoever's going to take over as regards doing what they said they would do? To
compensate the victims, but an apology to each injured lady, not a blanket apology, just to feel like we're being heard would help.
Mandy, we really appreciate you coming in and telling us your story, and all the best to the future. And Professor Henrietta Hughes, thank you too as well. Thank you both.